You can play the games as well for anywhere between 20 minutes, say at the end of a sales meeting, or you can play the game for an hour. It's entirely up to the team leader based on what he wants to do with it with his team. The idea is the teams are asked questions relating to either the productivity, the activities that they're doing, or if they're playing the selling game, about the different aspects of the consultative sales process. And the idea is that they actually win the game by actually putting, in this instance, the most coloured markers on the board, or in this instance, actually the team that scores the highest number of points. We've actually got rules of play booklets for the trinamic sales game and also for the selling game. So it gives the team leader a guide of how to play the games in a really effective, dynamic way. Interestingly, you'll notice that there's no start and finish on either of the games. And the reason for this is that if you've ever played, say, Trivial Pursuits, you'll know that that's a game that can absolutely go on for hours. And what we wanted to do was create it so it was totally flexible. So it's all about points and markers on the board as opposed to a time restraint, and this gives the trainer much more flexibility. Both games involve a triangular dice, and that's how the teams move around each of the games. Now let me just explain, on the question cards that are used for the games, there is a question, and the questions are predominantly open questions so that they create lots and lots of team discussion. And to help the team leader, there are a number of possible responses so that the team leader has some way of being able to validate the answer given by the team. Now these are by no means definitive, they are just a guide for the team leader. So you'll also see that there's a reference to a suggestion card. So if my team haven't been able to answer that comprehensively, it's great feedback from me, because I know then that at the next team meeting, I need to actually cover the content of the relevant suggestion card at my next team meeting. Now let me talk about for a moment the suggestion cards. Every suggestion card, and there are 63 in total, every suggestion card gives the individual information about a new sales technique, about a piece of knowledge that's useful. And the team leader can either present that information to their team, and then right at the bottom he's got an exercise that he can run with his team so that it relates to the context of his or her particular team. Now often clients have asked me, is this tailored to our industry? And I usually say, well, yes and no. No, it hasn't got your industry specific examples detailed here, yet that's why the exercise enables the team leader to tailor it to the specific context of his or her team. The great thing about the games is that the fact they're games is secondary to the fact that they're actually very effective learning mechanics, because what you'll see is that the individuals are discussing the learnings as a team, which is very, very powerful in terms of the learning psychology, and they're coming up with their own solutions, which means they're more likely to be committed to putting those solutions in practice. So actually they're learning from each other, and that's, interestingly enough, where the belief change bit can actually work. For example, if I'm hearing from one of my colleagues about something that he's doing that actually I thought was impossible, or I believed was impossible, and I hear that my colleague offering the same product and service is actually able to do that, wow, that's helping me shift my limiting belief about that. So the actual process of playing the games creates some powerful shifts in people's beliefs, which again has a very positive impact on performance and consequently sales results. So what you have in front of you is 70 hours of flexible learning content that equates to about 12 days of training and development that can be used by the team leader. And to help the team leader, there are a couple of things that we have. First of all, there's a CD, which is a demonstration tutorial video that the team leaders can look at and learn from, so they can see how the games are run, why the Sales Activator can really benefit themselves and their team, and it gives them the information they need, the big picture information they need, that enables them to get on with it and start using it. There's also a team leader's guide that contains a variety of really good hints and tips that they can actually refer to, that gives them lots of different suggestions for how they can maximise the resources contained within the Sales Activator. One of the things we found very early on was that if we just send out the box to the team leaders, potentially, you get a box and you look at all the materials, and it could potentially put them in a little bit of overwhelm. Also, if you bear in mind that these people are very, very busy and time is a constraint, they needed some help in really getting going, because unless the team leaders themselves who are going to be using it have the confidence, the competence and the real motivation to want to use it, they won't use it. So what we're now suggesting to clients, and in 9 out of 10 cases those clients are going for it, is a one-day implementation workshop to train team leaders. So by the end of that one day, they have the confidence, competence and real motivation to use the Sales Activator on an ongoing basis. So just to summarise, for the investment of one Sales Activator for each team leader, that team leader has 70 hours of flexible learning and development content, a framework if you like, that can help them in the ongoing development of the performance of their team. And as we've just learned, performance equates to results. The better the performance, the more the results. So that's it. Do you want to play?